On the 18th of October 2007, Tony Blair gave a speech to the 62nd Annual Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation dinner in New York, in which he equated Iran to the rise of fascism in the 1920s and 30s. This is my reply to that speech. I believe Tony Blair to be a very dangerous man. I believe that he colluded in lies about intelligence in order to commit British troops, over 100 of whom have died as a result, to an illegal invasion of Iraq. There has never been a serious independent inquiry into the way the decision about this invasion was taken, or about the legality of it. In the present climate, Tony Blair's rhetoric was dangerously inflammatory, and his talk of fascism was perhaps a little disingenuous when the neocon government in America itself flirts with techniques used by fascist governments throughout history, in the way that they stifle opposition, ban marches by refusing legal permits, force protesters into free speech zones far away from media cameras, manipulate the media agenda, and support the imposition of draconian and often illegal surveillance methods on their own civilians. I would now like to address particular points in Blair's speech. He takes issue with the widely held view that Iraq and Iran have taken aggressive stances towards America and Britain, largely because we have provoked them to do so through our own aggressive foreign policies. He insists that this is not true. Yet even a cursory glance at the history of the Middle East, and Iran in particular, puts a lie to Blair's assertion that there has been no provocation by the West in this region.
Listen close, they're watching us. One more time, you're losing us. Hold still, they're shooting us. First wave down. I wonder when they're coming back.
Tony Blair is attempting to link Iran with the rise of fascism in Europe in the 1920s. This is similar to the Saddam-Hitler analogy he peddled before the invasion of Iraq. Both analogies are gravely flawed. Iran may not be a pure beacon of democracy according to the values of the West, but it does have a voting system, and it is not expansionist in the way Hitler's Germany was. One reason for this is that Hitler's expansion was, in part, due to his desire to capture the oil fields of the Middle East for Germany. Iran has no need for this, as it already sits on top all the oil it needs. It is perhaps wise to remember which countries, of all the countries in the world, have their troops thousands of miles from home occupying foreign nations at this moment in time. Iran, argues that Iran sponsors terrorism, and I believe they do, but so do we. It is a well-established truth that there are, and have long been, US and British special forces operating in Iran, stirring up dissent and encouraging terrorist activities. The film The Quiet American, based on a true event, shows how Western governments are not above using terrorism to manipulate public opinion. We cannot pretend that we are always the clean and pure democracies that we claim to be. In regard to Iran, this can be seen very clearly in the Iran-Contra conspiracy of the 1980s, where semi-secret parts of the American government traded cocaine for arms to fund illegal operations in South America. And don't think for a minute that the people involved in Iran-Contra were brought to justice. Oliver North, the man at the centre of the conspiracy, now has a very lucrative job giving speeches around the US to neocon conferences. Tony Blair also claimed in his speech that we in the West have common values, and this is true. But I find myself wondering now what precisely Blair's Western values are. Do they include the curtailment of civil liberties that we see enacted around us here at home today, at the very time he is so vocal about the lack of these liberties in countries he wants us to invade? Make no mistake, our civil liberties are being eroded, fast. We don't like to admit it, for it's frightening to think that our democratic rights may not be as rock solid as we'd believed. But they are under attack in ways that would shock generations of men and women in the past who worked so hard to build our civil society.
I wonder what you're waiting for.